If you look at the coronation footage, as the king and queen leave the thrones and head for the exit of Westminster Abbey of the coronation Saturday, you'll see that everyone bows and curtsies to the king, and no one moves a limb, a muscle, when Camilla passes. And that was because they were angry with Camilla.
Picture this. Queen Camilla, crowned beside King Charles, now banished in disgrace, caught in a secret affair and accused of stealing Princess Diana's priceless heirlooms, a dossier of betrayal, a missing trunk, and a royal family fighting to protect its legacy. This is the scandal that rocked Buckingham Palace. From whispers of infidelity to a public exile, Camilla's double life unraveled everything. If you're gripped by royal secrets that change history, hit that super thanks button to fuel our deep dive into this explosive saga. Buckle up, this story will leave you speechless. June 25, 2025. Westminster Abbey buzzes with the grandeur of King Charles III's coronation. As Charles and Camilla leave their thrones, the crowd bows to the king, but not a single head dips for Camilla. The podcast we're diving into captures it. They were furious with her. X-Posts with 8 million views called it the silent rebellion. Why the cold shoulder? Whispers of Camilla's betrayal were already spreading, but no one expected the bombshell that would follow. That morning, Charles found a dossier slipped under royal reports at Buckingham Palace. Inside, surveillance stills from May 11 through 13, 2025, showing Camilla embracing Edward Langley, a former royal aide at a Windsor estate. The podcast notes, she called it a wellness retreat. The photos screamed affair. Palace security confirmed Langley's identity, his transport logs, and late-night visits. This wasn't gossip, the host says. It was betrayal in high resolution. But the affair was just the beginning. A darker secret was about to unravel the monarchy. Camilla Parker Bowles wasn't born royal. She clawed her way in. Born in 1947 to a military officer and a socialite, she navigated elite circles with charm. The podcast details, she was a strategist from the start. In the 1970s, she met Charles, then a prince, at a polo match. Their romance sparked but fizzled when Charles married Diana in 1981. Camilla, undeterred, married Andrew Parker Bowles, staying close to royal life. By the 1990s, her affair with Charles reignited, exposed in the 1993 Tampon Gate scandal, humiliating Diana. After Diana's 1997 death, Camilla rebuilt her image, marrying Charles in 2005. She went from villain to queen, the host says. X-Posts with 6 million likes noted she outlasted everyone. But her ambition never faded. As queen consort, she accessed royal vaults and councils, positioning herself as untouchable. The podcast asks, was her love for Charles real or a long game for power? Her past suggested a woman who played to win, until she overplayed her hand. The dossier wasn't just about an affair. It exposed a theft. On April 22, 2025, Camilla accessed the Royal Heirloom Vault, bypassing protocol with a dormant 2014 override code. The podcast reveals she left with a trunk, uninspected. That week, Diana's 650,000-pound caterpillar earrings and Spencer choker vanished. Security footage showed Camilla's car at Clarence House's loading bay for 45 minutes. The trunk loaded but never returned. She wasn't just cheating Charles, the host says. She was stealing Diana's legacy. X-Posts with 10 million views raged. Camilla looted history. The trunk's destination? The Windsor suite where Langley stayed. Encrypted messages from Camilla's tablet, later recovered, hinted at a motive. This time, it's ours. The podcast speculates, was she gifting Diana's jewels to her lover? Charles ordered, follow the trunk, follow the man. What started as a personal betrayal became a royal crime, threatening the crown's very soul. July 1, 2025. In Buckingham Palace's Blue Room, Charles confronted Camilla.
The podcast describes it: no staff, no cameras, just truth. Armed with photos, logs, and messages, Charles laid out the evidence. "Who is he?" he asked, voice steady. Camilla's denials crumbled as Charles revealed vault logs showing her April 18 to 22 access, the missing trunk, and Diana's jewels now worn by Camilla's daughter, Laura Lopes. "You used Diana's legacy as bait," he said, per aides. Camilla wept, claiming misunderstanding, but the podcast notes her story had holes. Charles's words to aides later cut deep. "He insulted my mother, Diana, and the crown." X posts with 12 million likes echoed, "Charles was heartbroken but ruthless." The trust built over decades through Diana's pain, public scorn, and their 2005 marriage shattered. "Diana warned me," Charles murmured that night. By dawn, he'd decided Camilla's fate. The scandal broke open at a June 29, 2025 luncheon for Princess Charlotte's charity milestone. Catherine, in a dress Diana wore in 1995, noticed Laura Lopes wearing Diana's 1986 Qatar earrings. The podcast recounts, Catherine didn't flinch, she acted. She cross-checked the heirloom catalog, confirming the earrings' identity. At 12:42 p.m., she asked Laura, "Where did you get those?" Laura's reply, "A gift from Mom," sealed Camilla's fate. Catherine alerted the palace gemologist who verified the earrings. William, arriving by 10:08 p.m., was livid. "This isn't inheritance, it's infiltration." X posts with 15 million views praised Catherine protected Diana's legacy. Charles informed skip the lunch but called an emergency council. The podcast notes Catherine's silence was her power. Her discovery wasn't just personal, it was a defense of the crown's history, sparking Camilla's downfall.
July 3, 2025. A secret council convened. Charles, William, Catherine, Princess Anne, and a constitutional advisor. The podcast describes it cold, clinical, devastating. Charles presented the evidence, photos, logs, gemologist reports. Anne, furious, declared, "She used our mother's grief as a bargaining chip." William added, "We won't let Diana be erased again." Catherine, silent, held a vault inventory file, her resolve unshakable. Charles issued 5 orders. Camilla's palace access was revoked July 4, her staff reassigned by July 6, vault codes changed by midnight, her security halved, her duties as queen consort nullified. The podcast notes, she became a ghost title. A sealed directive, hand-signed by Charles, read, "Trust is broken." X posts with 9 million likes called it the monarchy's purge. Camilla's reign was over, but the public was about to ignite.
July 6, 2025, 6 a.m. The Times headline screamed, "Queen Camilla's affair and jewel theft scandal." Photos of Camilla with Langley and Laura wearing Diana's earrings spread like wildfire. Hashtags cheating queen and Diana deserved better trended across 93 countries with 20 million views. A viral video comparing Laura's earrings to Diana's 1986 footage racked up 4.7 million likes. "It's like history was robbed," one X post read. The BBC's special, "The Queen Who Went Too Far," drew millions. Tabloids like The Sun blasted, "Legacy looted." YouGov polls showed Camilla's approval at 21%, while Catherine soared to 85%. The podcast notes, this wasn't just gossip, it was a reckoning. Leaked palace emails revealed staff scrambling to contain the fallout. The world wasn't just watching Camilla fall, it was defending Diana's memory 28 years after her death. July 7th, 2025. Charles issued a final directive. Camilla was downgraded to a non-working royal. The podcast details? She kept the title but lost everything else. Her access to vaults, ceremonies, and communications was revoked. By 6 p.m.,
Her aides were gone, and she was driven to Ray Mill House, her Wiltshire estate, far from royal circles. She was pale, hollow, her driver leaked. X posts with 10 million views mocked from queen to outcast. Camilla's children, Tom and Laura, visited briefly but dodged reporters. The podcast speculates she's alone, haunted by her choices. Charles's private note to staff read, "No one stands above legacy." Framed beside portraits of Elizabeth II and Diana, it signaled the monarchy's shift. Camilla wasn't just exiled, she was erased from the royal narrative. A queen in name only. July 8, 2025, Catherine entered Windsor's vault with the Crown's archivist, resecuring Diana's artifacts. The 1981 Spencer choker, 1985 sapphire brooch, and a 1997 letter to William. The podcast calls it a seismic moment. She left an envelope for Charlotte, inscribed, "In strength and memory, love, Mommy." X posts with 32 million shares hailed, "Catherine saved Diana's legacy." #legacy secured trended globally. Kensington Palace released 2 photos. Catherine at the vault, Charlotte with Diana's portrait. YouGov polls showed 85% support for Catherine as a future queen. The podcast notes, "She didn't seek power, she earned it." Parliament whispered of a formal title elevation. Catherine's quiet resolve, protecting Charlotte and Diana's memory, made her the monarchy's new heart, outshining Camilla's betrayal. The scandal unearthed Camilla's history. The 1993 Tampongate tapes, exposing her affair with Charles during Diana's marriage, resurfaced. The podcast reveals her 2017 and 2021 vault visits raised red flags. Whistleblowers claimed unrecorded withdrawals, with 2 Victorian brooches and Georgian cufflinks auctioned in Geneva 2022. X posts with 12 million views raged, "She's been looting for years." Her PR team quit, her memoir delayed, her family audited. Buckingham Palace's website erased Camilla's profile by July 12th. "She's gone from history," the host says. Her allies vanished, her power crumbled. The podcast asks, was this a one-off or a decades-long scheme? Camilla's past, once divisive, now condemned her. The world saw not a queen, but a thief who betrayed Diana's legacy twice. Catherine and Charlotte's July 13 Oxford visit, a simple literacy charity event, became iconic. Their photo, hand in hand, hit 40 million views. The podcast notes, "The monarchy healed through them." Headlines cheered, "Kate the Great." Polls showed 72% wanted Catherine crowned queen. Charles, still grieving, planned to elevate her role. Anne reformed vault security. William prepped for 2026 duties. The crown's stronger now, the host says. Camilla at Ray Mill is a ghost. Her ventures collapsed, her name toxic. The podcast concludes, she lost everything she stole. Catherine, without fanfare, became the people's queen, proving loyalty trumps titles. X posts with 15 million likes declared Diana's legacy lives. The monarchy, bruised but resolute, emerged with a new moral center.